Hey, welcome back to Motorhead Garage. Well, folks, you know, diesel performance is one of the biggest things going, and these Dodge trucks with a Cummins engine, diesel engine in it, they really make great hot rod machines. Now, you always got to remember in performance, an engine is really nothing more than an air pump. How you manage to get the air in and get it out is going to be one of the keys to performance. And one of the ways you do that is with a camshaft, and we got an expert here who can tell us all about it.
Yeah, Dave's right. Putting the right performance cam in is real important. We got Geoff Bardal here from Colt Cams. Now, Geoff, this is a real nice performance cam. You guys build these from scratch, right?
Yeah.
All brand new.
Yep, we call them semi-finished, where the journals are finished, but the lobes are unfinished.
Okay, and so when you grind the cam here, how do you improve it over the factory cam?
What we try to do is optimize the airflow, and you know, everybody's putting on aftermarket turbos, bigger injectors, and it does improve performance, but if you're not getting that air in there to feed these things,
right,
you're not getting the full potential of what your engine can do.
You got to get the air in and you got to get the air out. Now also, definitely, you know, when you start doing performance work, one of the things that happens is if you don't have an EGT, you need to have one because the exhaust gas temperature starts to go through the roof. By getting the air out, can you actually control that?
Huge, yeah. Getting fresh air in and getting it out, and by doing that too, you're helping spool the turbo quicker.
Absolutely. You spool the turbo quicker, you get a little bit better bottom end, and you can drop your EGTs, what, a couple hundred degrees?
Find that sometimes a minimum. We've even seen higher.
Cool. Now looking at this over a factory cam, I can see the lobes are a lot wider. So you take your lifter or you tap it here that rides on there, and that spreads, of course, the load out. When you put higher tension valve springs, gives you more surface, less wear.
Definitely. Okay.
Now also, you got some kind of a retainer here that I've taken my 12 valve apart, and I didn't have this. What's the deal there?
We find on the P-pump engines, they were notorious for walking the gears off.
Right.
So we made, it's basically a glorified washer with a recess on it. So after the gear's pressed on, this can be bolted on afterwards. And that just guarantees your gear can't walk off.
Keep the timing gear from walking forward. And of course, if that's threaded, you can put a rod in there. It makes a nice cam handle. When you're installing these cams, these lobes are pretty big. And the Cummins, you're right in the block. And you want to make sure when you're putting the cam in that you don't nick it. So that's really pretty good. Now, I see we got, you make a performance tappet too, is that right?
Yeah, we found that some tappets don't come with enough crown on them. And the crown on a lifter is the #1 factor on a Cummins to get them spinning. Right. And if that lifter doesn't spin, you're in trouble.
Yeah, it's going to wear the same place all the time.
Exactly.
What's happening, folks, when these engines are running, every time this comes up on the lobe, this thing, if they have a good crown on them, the tappets rotate, keeps the oil on them, and it keeps them from wearing out. Some of the factory ones will be flat, some even concave.
Yes.
Yeah, so you want to make sure, don't skimp on it. You're going to put a cam in, put a good set of lifters in. Now, this is a inline 6 Cummins cam, the shorter one for V8. Is this a roller cam?
This is a roller cam.
And power stroke?
Power stroke, 6 liter or 6.4.
6.0 and 6.4 power stroke. And of course, you know, when you have a flat tappet cam versus a roller cam, you got some oil concerns. You want to make sure you get enough zinc in your oil for a flat tappet cam. Is that right?
Definitely, because now you got a scuffing motion.
Right.
And if you don't get that anti-friction in there, you can cause wear.
Now, is there a good braking procedure for these cams?
Yeah, a good cam lube on the cam lobes. Another feature is when you parkerize a camshaft, the cam lube has something good to hang on to. Also sort of helps penetrate into the lobe, and it puts a barrier between the lifter and the cam lobe too.
Great. Parkerizing is a metal treatment. That's this black stuff here on the cam. Again, makes the oil stick. It really keeps the metal from metal contact, so it'll give your cam a long life. Probably the biggest compliment I get is it idles better. You know, compared to a gas engine, you usually put a performance cam in, you get that lumpity boogity idle, more emissions. In a diesel, you're trying to get air in there. So the more air you get, the better it is, as long as you don't get into the overlap. Get into overlap, you start to cause turbo lag. Right. We've just tried to optimize it for the best flow. And these Colt cams are bolt-in. You don't need any offset keys. They're all dialed in to go right where they belong, and you don't have any piston to valve issues. Put it in, run the engine, and it's going to work great. One thing I always want to tell people is check your lifters, and you want to make sure you got a nice crown to them. We're not talking inches, we're talking like 1.5 to a 2 thou. And a great way to check it is just grab one of your 2 used lifters and take the barrel. Just hold it up there to the light. And you don't want to see any light in between the middle. You want to just see a slight little roll. Putting a flat lifter in can kill a camshaft.